Yes, full time. You're watching Toonami TV. Instant match reaction. It's finished at Turf Moor. Burnley 1, Newcastle United 2. Yes, Newcastle have won a game. ASM was the difference in the second half, and he was the difference between us getting nothing and all 3 points. Burnley have been caught cold defensively in the second half, and we managed to turn the game on its head and get a big 3 points. It's our first win in 2 months. Yes, it's been that long. Before the game, it was 2 wins in 21. It's now 3 wins in 22. I'll take that over what was previously, but that's the manager that we're working with. But when you make the changes and you're positive and you bring them on a lot earlier, and I said this in the preview, then we've got a chance of going on and winning games. And that's what's happened this afternoon. It was a game of 2 halves, I would say. Burnley were the better side, deservedly took the lead. You could argue towards half-time that should have been a penalty. I do agree with that. Second half, we couldn't have been any worse, and we came out fighting as we are expected because we're in a relegation battle. For me, this now, I wouldn't say officially relegates Fulham, but it's going to be a very difficult way back from them to try and catch us in terms of staying in the Premier League. We've definitely put Burnley and Brighton back into the relegation mix, and Burnley for me will be disappointed because obviously it's a home game for them. If they'd won the game, they would have been safe for another season. Well, they're not out of it just yet, and I have to say on the balance of play, we deserved to win this game. Looking at the starting lineup, Steve Bruce went with the same 5-3-2 that he went with against Spurs. I was a little bit nervous actually because I'm thinking against Burnley, 5-3-2, why be a bit more braver and go 4 at the back and just get at Burnley? But it's worked. It's managed to muster up 4 points from our last 2 games, and I'll take that because we need to start picking up results. And if we're going to start performing now and getting the points at this part of the season, it's the best time. And when a lot of clubs were writing us off for relegation, we never know when we're beaten. When we've got ASM, Callum Wilson, Almiron and our best players playing, then we have what it takes to beat anyone in this league. Yes, it's been a horrible season, and I'm not getting carried away with a win against Burnley, but it's a big win in terms of the grand scheme of things and where we are in the league. We're down there for a reason because we haven't been good enough and the manager simply hasn't been good enough. But I'll praise him where it's due for what he did in the second half, and we'll have to build on this now. We really do. First half, Burnley for me started the brighter. I wasn't expecting, a fast start when we're not playing Callum Wilson, we're not playing ASM. I was expecting them to start, but they actually came on in the second half and, it made, a real difference. We had Joe Linton and Dwight Gale starting, and Longstaff, he got his chance. Shelby. We played like the wing-back system, Jacob Murphy and Matt Ritchie pulling the strings. And yeah, Burnley started the brighter, given the fact they're at home. We looked a little bit slow out the blocks. The passing wasn't quite right. We were getting things wrong in terms of what we were doing in the final third. We weren't really putting them under pressure. And Burnley, they managed to take the lead on 80 minutes through Vidra. For me, it was shocking defending. It just sums up our season, the way we started. And you question who is picking up Chris Wood, because when he darts into the box, someone should put the tackle in. They don't. Chris Wood picks out Vidra in the middle of the box, and he just slots it in calmly into the middle of the goal, and it's 1-0 to Burnley. Who's picking up Vidra? That's even more, embarrassing. Like, who's picking up either Wood or Vidra? It's comical defending. And yeah, for the start that we had, Burnley deserved to take the lead. But then we grew into the game. We had chances. The best one coming through Dwight Gale when he tested the goalkeeper. There was also another chance where the ball was in the back of the net, but it was ruled for offside. It probably was with Joe Linton. But then the big call came when Sean Longstaff was taken out by Tarkowski when he was trying to clear the ball. For me, it's a penalty. Anywhere else on the pitch, if that's even outside the box, for me that's a red card for Tarkowski. Burnley should be down to 10 men and we should be awarded that penalty. I mean, I don't know what they are seeing in the challenge that's any different to what the public would see, but for me that is a stonewall penalty. He's taken them out. It's a high boot and it's a straight red card. At first I wasn't sure what to make of it, but the more I look at it, VAR have got it completely wrong. They've had a clanger this weekend in terms of decisions, and this for me is a big one, and that could have cost us in terms of our Premier League status, because that's what it can do when you're in a relegation battle, because we're really upped our ante once we went 1-0 down. And at 1-1, if we'd been given that penalty, that would have set us nicely for the second half. It did, to be fair, despite being 1-0 down. That could really have knocked our confidence, but the first half for me was abysmal. As much as we talk about the penalty call, we weren't good enough and we had to be better. Going into the second half, I feel like Burnley started the better. They were more going for it, trying to get that second goal. In the longer it was at 1-0, Steve Bruce had to make the changes. He can't just, sit back and take a 1-0 defeat when you've got ASM and Callum Wilson on the bench, and they both come on for the last 35 minutes plus. And yeah, it was the turning point in the match. Burnley started to, I wouldn't say tire out, but there were just lack of ideas, and ASM punished them. It was basically carbon copy of the Spurs game, but it worked out in our favour. In the space of 5 minutes, we were from a 1-0 defeat to winning the game 2-1. We scored 2 goals in the space of 5 minutes, basically. And ASM, he set up the first goal for Jacob Murphy from our right-hand side. He cuts in the box and he basically passes it back to Jacob Murphy, and he just rifles the ball into the bottom left-hand corner past Peacock Farrell. He's not getting anywhere glove on that, and it's a great strike. Murphy could do that. He's quality. You just wonder why he's not playing enough games when his goals have been so crucial. If you remember the one, against Wolves just recently, and in other games gone by, he's so important to what we do, going forward. You could argue the Burnley defence, should be better, but in terms of how we, start to dominate from being 1-0 down, we deserved that, and yeah, he took it really calmly, and he kissed the Newcastle badge as well, which is what you like to see. Newcastle fan through and through, that's why I love the lad. He's so passionate. And then from there, we just built on in terms of confidence. ASM, he picks up the ball in the centre of the park. He just charges at that Burnley defence. No one's put a challenge in, and he sort of cuts in on his right foot and he buries it. He puts it bottom right-hand corner. Peacock Farrell, absolutely no chance. Burnley defence all over the place, and that's what ASM brings to the side, and he celebrates with that funny dance that he does. And hey, ASM, he's been a huge miss, to our side. Without his quality, we're not really going to do much, in a season. He just tears, defences apart. He's lightning quick, and I mentioned this in the preview. So if there was any Burnley fans watching, you can't say that you were warned. Obviously, Callum Wilson, wonder what he brings to the side, but ASM was fantastic. ASM was the difference in that second half. He grabbed a goal, but he also got an assist, which obviously got with the equaliser. But that was, for me, the most important point of the game, trying to get it to 1-1 and then go on and hit Burnley on the counter-attack. And then from there, I feel like we were the better side. Yes, Burnley were having some attacks, but I feel like we were comfortable all the way through. We could have made it 3-1 towards the end, but I'll take it. It's a 2-1 victory on the road. It's our first win in 2 months, but it's a big one in terms of we've gone 6 points clear of Fulham. We've also got a game in hand on Liverpool. That's going to be a difficult game in itself. But as mentioned before, we can only focus on ourselves. People have written off, this season that we're going to get relegated. I've even written off as well, given the manager that we've got. But with the formation that Steve Bruce has been going with, 5-3-2, as much as I'm not a fan of it, it's mustered up 4 points. And who would have thought that we would have got 4 points from Spurs and Burnley? Burnley, yeah, you'd argue 3 points. But then you could argue at the same time we could have got 6 if you talk about the Spurs game where we had plenty of chances last week. But just as well, that we managed to turn things around, because I would have feared for us if we'd went 1-0 up, because it could have been a different outcome. You know what we're like, if we go 1-0 up, we tend to switch off. But just as well, Steve Bruce made the changes, when he did. And hats off to Steve Bruce, for making those changes in the second half. I'll praise when he gets things right, but then I'll not praise when it goes wrong. But today, he got it spot on. And who knows where the game would have panned out had we started them. But hey, it doesn't really matter now. It's a big 3 points. We've got West Ham next week. That's going to be a difficult game in itself. They're going for, European spots. They'll not want to let up now. But we've got Callum Wilson and ASM back, and anything's possible with these lads. West Ham, yes, do blow hot and cold, and that's why I believe we can at least get something. We've now put Brighton and Burnley right back in the relegation picture. I know Brighton play tomorrow in their game against Everton, which Everton could actually win that one, but we'll have to wait and see. But then you look at Burnley, they've had chances to be safe for next season. The most likely will be, and they will definitely get 3 points from somewhere. It's a massive blow for them. But for us, I feel like the public will probably say that we've relegated Fulham now, being 6 points behind, but we've seen that with Fulham that they can get results against the bigger sides. But I feel like if we can grab another 3 points in one of our games coming up, then I feel like we've done enough. Have we done enough already? No, but it's always a step in the right direction. Things are starting to look up. And, if we're going to start playing well, now is the best time. With 7 games to go, we'll just have to keep plugging away and playing like we're doing, being more ruthless. And the longer we stay ruthless, the more points we'll pick up between now and the rest of the season. That was a massive second half, and the lads have really stepped up to a T. When they've had to defend, they've defended well. When Dubravka's been called upon, he's done really well. And when the midfield have been asked to try and get forward in the attack of being asked to try and get themselves in the box, they've done it. That's what we're expected to do in this league. And yes, okay, Burnley and Newcastle's not a pretty fixture. It's not going to be with both coaches being so defensive, but it's massive, for us going forward that we've managed to pick up the 3 points. So I'm over the moon with it because it couldn't have been any worse than the first half. But you could argue, we could have won the game 3-1 with a penalty. For me, that is a penalty. It doesn't matter what anyone says. It's a high boot. He should have been, off the pitch. But just as well, it didn't change the attitude of the players. The mentality was always there to go on and win the game. But it's what we do now going forward. Can we build on it? Or is it just one of those results? I'm hoping it's a result that we can build on going into the West Ham game next week. But if you enjoyed the review, finally a positive one for a change, smiling, happy days. Is Turf Moor a happy place? Well, it is for us, not for Burnley fans. But, listen, I'll take that any day of the week. It's a huge 3 points. Many predicted a draw. I predicted 2-1, so I'm happy with that. And if you want to see the prediction, just go back to the preview. I said that just for the record. So, yeah, hit a like button, subscribe, put your comments down below. I will read them all and I will reply where I can, so do be patient. And if you haven't followed me on social media, do so on Toonami TV, Instagram and Twitter. Give us a follow and I'll give you a follow back, and make sure that if you haven't subscribed, please do. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend, have a drink, do whatever you need to do, but celebrate in the right way for a Magpies victory. How are the lads?